Hello everybody and welcome into today's edition of One Nation Weather. Yesterday I recorded a video giving you an update on an unfortunately catastrophic situation going on in California with flooding there. But the systems that come out of California, they always have to go somewhere, right? And actually this next system is going to be pulling cool air out of the north and the west, and it's going to bring it across the country, giving several people below average temperatures as we go into early to mid part of next week, not just in those areas. And of course, it'll meet up with some slightly warm air to create some severe weather. This is not the warmest of air, though, which is why the risk is going to be a little bit more tame than it has been in previous events. Hey, everybody, welcome in. It's Saturday, March 11th, and let's go ahead and give you a look at our Futurecast radar as we go into the day today, because it's your Saturday. A lot of you might be at home watching some college basketball for the day today. And as you sit inside, you might hear that rumble of thunder outside. Notice the energy working its way through Missouri. Honestly, I think as we go towards 7, 8, 9 o'clock today, we will begin to see some of these showers and thunderstorms get going into portions of Arkansas. This shows it a little bit more tame than I think it should show it, but I do think that these storms that do get going start pushing south and eastward. That's a better representation, and you could see some of these storms, maybe some gusty winds, some hail, moving out of Arkansas into Mississippi, Alabama, moving eastward here. And in fact, as we go into the start of your Sunday, we're going to have some of that activity still rolling through central Alabama. Birmingham maybe getting in on this early in the morning tomorrow as you wake up, and then even towards the midday period. But notice how this form's kind of aligned with some individual cells moving off to the south here. And as we hit the late afternoon time on your Sunday, it's looking like some of these showers and storms will be continuing all the way until they make it up into the panhandle of Florida. So certainly some pretty heavy showers and thunderstorms moving through those areas, to say the least. So here's a look at your severe weather risk for today and tonight. As that system that's been in California kind of makes its way out of there and kind of combines with some energy, this is where we get that severe weather risk. And it's, as you can see on your key on the bottom, that level 1 to level 2 threat. The green is your spotty severe thunderstorms. The yellow is your scattered. And you can see from Tulsa over to Little Rock, that's where our best risk for some of this activity is going to be. Memphis kind of on the edge of that level 1 threat here. But anywhere from northern Mississippi, Tupelo, places like that, all the way over to north eastern Texas, that's where we could at least see some severe weather get in the mix. I think large hail is actually the primary threat with this, since these are going to be some pretty cold thunderstorms, so to speak. But also an isolated tornado and maybe some damaging winds cannot be ruled out. Of course, damaging winds would be a little bit more likely than your tornadoes in this case. But also for your Saturday and Saturday night here, we have that risk for some flooding here, and that goes all the way from Little Rock all the way eastward towards Memphis. Memphis, your biggest threat, is definitely going to be flooding for tonight, as well as northern Mississippi getting in on the potential for some flooding, as well as back into California where the atmospheric river continues, definitely weakened a little bit for the day today, but still some moisture out there, which is why we're at least looking at spotty scattered risk of that flooding there. Here's a look at Little Rock, Arkansas's risks for the day today and into tonight. Damaging winds is going to be that level 2 out of 8. This is our One Nation Weather 8-point threat scale for you here, and you can see you got a 2 out of 8 on the damaging winds, so not very high, but still there, so you got to keep this in mind. 60-mile-per-hour winds, that's what damaging winds are. That's enough to blow down, cause problems with your siding, cause problems with your trees. All of that is a factor. Large hail is definitely your biggest threat at a 4 there. Tornado is not really a big factor, but still could see a brief weak one in a place like Little Rock. Of course, heavy rain could trigger some flooding as well, with lightning also in the picture. So here's a look at your risk as we go into your Sunday and Sunday night. That risk does shift to the south and east, and you can see a level 1 risk for portions of eastern Louisiana, including places like New Orleans. A little chunk of Louisiana there gets in on that level 2 risk, but that risk will mainly be in southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, southern Georgia, and portions of the panhandle of Florida there where Macon, Jackson, Pensacola could all be getting in on that risk. Again, gusty winds, maybe some hail out of this. I think those are definitely your main threats for the day tomorrow as it forms more of a line. But again, an isolated tornado may not be ruled out of this. But also notice, even in places where, like Atlanta, where it's going to be pretty chilly for the day tomorrow, we will still have the threat of some of those thunderstorms, but also the flood risk, of course, the level 1 risk going into portions of Alabama, Georgia, and western South Carolina there, as a new flood risk again begins to come out of Oregon and move into California in the west. So here's a look at your Macon, Georgia threats for the day today, or excuse me, for the night, day tomorrow and tomorrow night. Level 3 out of 8. There's certainly some damaging winds possible, low to medium threat of the large hail as well. Tornadoes getting up in there as a threat, but again, the heavy rain and the flooding certainly up there as well. And then that risk shifts even more south and east as a spotty risk as we go into your Monday and Monday night in a place like Orlando. If you're hitting up Disney World, you might have to watch out for some of those thunderstorms as that system moves off to the south and east. And here's a final look at something I want to show you here. You could see there's some of that rain and storm coverage moving off the coast and moving off to the south and east. Notice the atmospheric river also continuing in the west, but look at the northeaster that gets going with it here. Should I say nor'easter, right? With the northeast winds moving on in. That's a weak low pressure system kind of moving off the coast of the Carolinas there. And it's circling back up. It's the same system that's bringing all the severe weather, the cold severe weather threat, but it's also bringing in some chillier temperatures, of course, as well as that atmospheric river continues in the west. And look at here come the chilly temperatures. You could see them diving out of the central part of the country and moving eastward as we go towards Tuesday, especially in portions of the east. And the nor'easter will definitely keep temperatures cooler. We'll be watching Boston and places like New York City for some snow out of that. Looks like New York City might be borderline according to the models right now. Looks like Boston might have a better chance of some accumulation.